While officials try to discover what went wrong at 31,000 feet, the people of the little town down below were trying to get over the shock. ABC's Jerry King is in Lockerbie, along the Scottish border with England.
Lockerbie is a small town, about 3,000 people, who'd been looking forward to Christmas until last night.
Well, it ain't going to be Christmas anymore. It's just going to be a time of sadness.
Pan Am Flight 103 hit Lockerbie like a fireball. Somehow, pensioners John and Jessie Scott escaped from this home on Sherwood Crescent. Only the fireplace chimneys remained erect. Other pieces of wreckage flattened houses in the Rosebank section across the high street. At least 5 cars near a highway were destroyed, with no reports of survivors.
Yesterday was the shortest day. Last night was the longest night.
And today, Lockerbie struggled to live with death and with the devastation. Local residents checked lists of those evacuated, hoping their friends and loved ones had survived. Some, among them friends of a Lockerbie butcher, Chilton Fawcett, did not.
I've lost, I think, 3 friends. I think they haven't been found. I think they're dead.
Psychologists say for many here, simply talking with friends, talking about the unthinkable, has been a kind of therapy.
It's pretty hard to think sometimes. I can hardly believe it's happened. And I hope that I never hear anything like that again.
Despite their own grief, many of the local people wanted to voice their sorrow at the heavy toll of American lives.
We would like to wish, well, not so much wish, but just give our condolences to all Americans that were on that plane. We've had tragic losses. You people have had worse. And all I can say is, our heart's with you.
As ever with a Christmas-time disaster, people here are struggling to divine some meaning from such a horrific nightmare at a time that is normally so joyous. Jerry King, ABC News, Lockerbie, Scotland.
And we have learned more about the people who were on board Flight 103. At least half were Americans, at least 11 were in the military. 38 of the passengers were students enrolled in Syracuse University's Overseas Study Program. Today, students and faculty at the school join family and friends as they try to grasp the enormity of what had happened in their lives. ABC's Bonnie Strauss is in Syracuse, New York.
More than 400 people attended today's prayer session in the chapel at Syracuse University.
For all those, our brothers and sisters, our daughters and our sons, our beloved, who have perished in violence and in horror, let us pray to the Lord.
At the end of the service, people reached out to one another for comfort.
I've never felt this way before. I lost one of my best friends.
You search for words to bring comfort to others, but they just don't come.
It's the first time that many of the students have experienced death at such close range.
It's very hard to realize that somebody that you just said goodbye for a little while and left is never going to come back.
Matthew Trento had a ticket to fly home on Flight 103, but changed his plans to take an earlier plane. Some of his friends were on the ill-fated flight.
I was sitting there looking at my ticket that still said 103 in Kennedy. After the flight had, officially gone down, and it really just made me wonder.
Tomorrow, the campus will be empty. Students will be returning home for Christmas. But there's another emptiness in this community that no one here could have prepared for. Bonnie Strauss, ABC News, Syracuse.
Flight 103. In a moment, the other news. Some new and surprising faces in Mr. Bush's cabinet. And later in the broadcast, what comes next in the Drexel-Burnham insider trading case? And buckling your seatbelt. There is new evidence that it really does make a difference.